Hello and welcome to the week 1 edition of the Monster Pod here on thelines.com. Yes, it's a new season, and with that we get a new name and a new partnership, as you see if you're watching us over on the video side of things. Carolina Panthers and the New Orleans Saints. This is 3.5-4 in favor of the Saints at home. 41.5 is the prevailing total out there. There is 142 if you look at this one. Everybody knows, yes, I am, you can see, I'm from Louisiana, so kind of like, Ryan, what you're talking about, I do not think the Saints are going to be good at all this year. I'm probably the lowest on the Saints in the entire market out there. I don't like really anything about this team, to be honest with you. I don't, everything from the head coach all the way down to the quarterback to everything in between. So I'm at least intrigued by the 4 on the Panthers, in which you kind of look and you say, you look at that situation last year, and I do understand that people go, dude, that team was absolutely atrocious. And I agree, but it was not a situation for Bryce Young to come in and succeed. I mean, they were the least talented team by far. And, you know, they at least went out and tried to do some things and get him a little bit more around him. And so I think there's at least something to latch onto here if you want to hold him to hope for this Panther squad. And on the other side of a field goal, I guess one of the teams that I think could end up being, when it's all said and done, one of the worst teams in the league too, in the Saints. I'm at least intrigued, not in the account quite yet, but I'm not going to say this isn't at least going to be a contest play for me or something like that, you know, in one of the pick'em contests. Cause I think the other side of 3 against anytime a team's on the other side of 3 against the Saints, I'm going to be intrigued.
Yeah, it's probably right. It's a stay away from me for sure. Yeah. I don't know who the Saints are, right? And that's kind of what you're talking about. Like, I don't know what their identity is. And they just continue to kick the can down the road with what they do, circumventing the cap. And like, it does just catch up, right? You just continue to bleed talent year over year, and you can't really, respond properly. But the problem is like, I also don't understand some of this like Panthers optimism in the marketplace either. Cause it's kind of been like one of these things where, everyone's picking the Falcons, and the Saints, we don't know who they are, and the Bucks, people want to have regress. So it's just like, well, let's back the Panthers. And I don't really understand it. I think there's some fake sharp vibes with Dave Canales here. And I know like Dave Canales has been celebrated a little bit. And look, he was with Pete Carroll forever in Seattle, and they revitalized Geno Smith. And then last year, I was massively underweight on anything that was going on with the Bucks. And then they overperformed. They made the playoffs and won a playoff game. But like, in terms of optimal play calling, it was so much run, pass. They were so bad at running the football, and he just continued to do that. Regardless, second and 10 after it didn't work on first down. Okay, now Baker saves us. They were the best third down team in the league, and they were the worst team on early downs. And that's kind of what our problem was in Seattle with Pete Carroll, right? It was like, man, if Pete Carroll could just ever get into this century and start to be a little bit more of, forward thinking and throw on early downs. Well, look, maybe there's a little bit of Canales in that too. And now defense kept them in the game even a little bit last year. And that's tough to say for a team that won 2 games. They spent the entire offseason getting older and worse. They lost Frankie Louvu, Dante Jackson, Jeremy Chin, and Von Bell. They traded Brian Burns for 60 cents on the dollar after they could have got just a killing 2 years ago. So like, I like Elijah Evero as a defensive coordinator, but he's got his work cut out for him here too. So I'm not really bullish on the Panthers in a sense where I want to kind of go with you and say, I don't know what the Saints are and what they're going to do to you. They were kind of the bizarro Bucks. They were really bad on third downs, and they were really efficient on first and second down. So like, we need to figure out what they are there. I'm excited at least about the offensive coordinator. Can we scheme some more layups for Chris Olave, who I think is really good? Let's allow that kid to win over the middle, short and intermediate, versus just having him win in the perimeter. I think that bodes well. Can they get anything out of the secondary guys? How involved is Taysom Hill? Is that a good thing or not? Like, I don't know who they are. But this is kind of a stay away from me because I'm not buying the Panthers love either.
Steven, the other thing to add in this, if you have not heard any of the interviews with Xavier Leggett, you should go in. You should listen to him talk. He is a guy that you need to hear speak at least one time in your life, because it's very interesting. If you're wondering, when he opens his mouth, you're like, oh, that is quite interesting. Wasn't really expecting that. Look, I like the addition of Deontay Johnson on the offensive side of the ball. They actually have an offensive line that isn't complete garbage. Now they do have a couple of garbage spots on the offensive line, but at least it's not 5 across. And, look, I don't know. I guess I'm a little bit more optimistic on the defensive side of things, because I think there's a non-zero chance that you kind of a sum of the parts type deal where, JC Horn plays good. Jackson plays well. You got Woods at safety, Josie Jewell sitting there at the linebacker position. Maybe Clowney's not completely done. You got a really good player in Derek Brown. So I don't know. I'm not as down, I think, on the defense. I think it could keep them at least close in some of these games. I don't know how many games they win, but we're betting against a spread.
It seems like there's at least a decent amount of disagreement in the market because this line keeps ping-ponging around, gets the 3.5, and Saints money comes in, gets the 4.5, and some Panthers money comes in. We're just settled in around 4 right now on Friday morning. Let me just
anytime you start off a game like that, you should just be like, I'm taking a pass.
Yeah,
Steven,
but I'm not.
If you have to take a giant deep breath sigh like that, then like you should just be like, I'm passing on the game. Like, what do you do? Why are you about to bet this game that you literally had to start with like that? Like, what's going on?
It's a full slate, Steven.
Matt,
you don't have to go at it.
Listen, Ryan, I understand because this is your first show with us, but like Matt, we've been doing the show for 4 years. What are you new here? Come on, man. Like I'm betting Panthers +4
All right.
in this game. I've kind of decided at this point in the Dennis Allen, Derek Carr experience that I will never, ever, ever lay more than a field goal with the New Orleans Saints. I'm just not doing it. And certainly Olave is great. And Kamara is going to be check down Charlie out there. But, this offensive line looks putrid.
Yes.
I mean, it's really, really bad. Ryan Ramczyk's going to miss the entire season. All the reports out of preseason and camp were that they're just getting dominated by the Saints defensive line in practice. So this new offensive coordinator better pull a Mike McDaniel into it and just get the ball out of Derek Carr's hands as quickly as possible every single pass play so that the offensive line doesn't matter. They need to scheme around these offensive line issues. So on the other side here with the Carolina, that's really, Ryan, the biggest thing that I'm going to be looking for, because I certainly see in the advanced metrics from Tampa Bay with Canales last year that, they kind of got lucky here a little bit. So was that play calling because Todd Bowles is old school and wants to run it into the line on early downs until, the sun sets? Or is Canales, now that he's free and running the show himself, actually going to be a little bit more plus EV in his play calling? So that's the biggest thing that I need to watch that I'm not sure we're going to know in the first week, 2 weeks, but hopefully in the first month, we figure that out. Just against this mediocre at best New Orleans Saints team, I want to lean into the Panthers just not being 32 out of 32 in the NFL. And I think that's what this spread implies, Matt. Like, you tell me if you disagree, but for the Saints to be 4-point favorites, I think this is still saying the Panthers are the worst team in the NFL, and I just don't think that's the case coming into this season.
Certainly with my power ratings, this doesn't add up. And like I said, it's certainly be a contest play for me. I just don't know if it'll actually make the account when it's all said and done. Ryan, cannot be more excited about this partnership with you guys, and glad to have you on here every other week with us, breaking down football games. Be sure and check out 4 for 4 if you guys have not done so already. Go over there. All of their great work, not only on the betting side, but also on the fantasy side of things. And Steven, as we say each and every week, everything we do, absolutely free. So hit that subscribe button, head to lines.com, take a look at everything that we've got going on over there. For Ryan, for Steven, I am Matt. Good luck on all your week 1 bets.